think because death is talked about so much in the Buddhist tradition, and impermanence being one of the kind of key reflections of being a Buddhist, it's hard to be a Buddhist and not think about death. So in a way, the Buddha refers a lot to old age, sickness and death in his teachings. So I think quite frequently I reflect on the fact that even though I'm now young, I'm aging and I will die and I will get sick, and that is a reality. It's the one thing in which I can be certain. And I can see it in other people around me. So in my community, I live with someone who's 86 and I can see her getting older, and of course she will die at some point. And so I can see that teaching around me in my own life and also in others. And I think there's a real groundedness in that. And I think it's really helpful to not be in denial of the fact that we're dying. So I really appreciate having that reflection just coming up very kind of frequently in my life. How deep it goes is hard to know. I suppose even though I reflect on death and the fact that I'm dying, at the time of being young, the death still feels like a long way off, which is not necessarily true, because I could die any time, anything could happen. So in some ways, it's hard to know whether it helps me to know whether I'll die well. But I suppose what I think is my general experience of my life is that I'm more able to be present to my experience. Through practicing Buddhism, I can be more present to my experience and more kind with my current experience. So should I suddenly get very ill, then I would imagine that through practicing Buddhism, I would be more able to be with that experience of death and more open to the fact that it's going to happen. So I'm sure that it helps me to prepare for death in the best way that I possibly can, if you know what I mean.